So Bundy Davis of Great Britain goes in 2, Felix in 3, Salaski of Serbia in 4, Zemlak of Ukraine in 5, Putalova of Slovakia outside her, Tipi of South Africa in 7, and Bokesa of Spain wide on the outside. Alison Felix goes in 3. Well, in theory, this should be very straightforward indeed for Alison Felix. DP of South Africa has gone out fairly hard, trying to close down the stagger on Bokesa outside her. But Alison Felix looking so smooth here. Absolutely effortless down the back straight as she approaches the 200-metre mark. Bokesa of Spain trying to hang on the outside, but she'll soon be brought in by the stagger as they come into the home straight. And Alison Felix has already done all of her hard work. Zemlak is in second place by some clear margin from the South African, who's just about hanging on in third. And Alison Felix now literally jogging by her own standards across the line, picks up the acceleration by just a fraction to make sure she gets it ahead of Zemlak, and the South African crashing to the line. That was so comfortable and so easy for Alison Felix. Slowed to a jog with 50 to go, and then thought, well, actually, I want to make absolutely certain I win this heat. So the merest hint of acceleration, and that was hers at 51.24. She is desperate to win this gold medal. That's a good start. Felix takes that one. Zemlak comfortably in second place. Salaski of Serbia will have to wait to see if she goes through as the fastest loser. Tipi crashing to the ground as she got towards the line.
The fast woman in the field here is from the United States of America, Phyllis Francis, finalist in the World Championships in 2015, US indoor record holder. Younger sister competed at the 2010 Youth Olympic Games, and she has a personal best to her credit of 49.26. She's run sub 50 as well this year. Oluwakemi Adekoya, formerly from Nigeria, 2016 world indoor champion at 400. She's also world class at the 400 hurdles. There is Phyllis Francis, 24 years of age. And she has run 49.94 this year. So her personal best, in fact, in this year of 2016. De Lima of Brazil. Her impression, her face goes up on the big screens, and she gets a wonderful reception, as all of the Brazilian athletes have done. Brown of Canada in 6, Wasiskowicz of Poland in 7, Polframan of South Africa out in 8, and Bambos of Nigeria is the inside runner here. Bit of noise around the stadium, so the starter will stand them up, understandably so. And this will test the nerves of the lesser experienced runners. Might even test the nerves of the more experienced runners, because after all, this is the biggest stage of them all. The men's 400 is going to be a hotly contested race, and the same can be said for the women's 4. Alison Felix in the previous in 51.24. Stephanie McPherson in the first of the heats in 51.36. So with the discus going on, plenty for the crowd to have a look at various parts of the stadium. Adekoya, former Nigerian, now representing Bahrain. But the lady to watch, Phyllis Francis in lane 3. And the loud roar went up just before the starter let them go. Reading from the outside, Polframan, Wasiskowicz. Brown's about to be challenged by Adekoya, who's gone out very hard in the early stages. De Lima joined and passed by Francis. And Bambos is back in last placing, heading down the back straight. Adekoya has certainly put her eggs in the basket pretty early, and she's made the move to get up to the front. Francis is going to be the woman who is closing the gap and closing it quickly, and they're going to turn in first and second positions. And it is Bambos, the Nigerian, running on through in lane 2. Adekoya, you'd expect she might tie up a little bit after what she's done in the early stages. And Francis looks cool and composed, and she draws alongside her, and she's going to get the win. Adekoya did pretty well to hang on, but it's Francis over Adekoya and Bambos, and at the time 50-59. So the fast pace certainly set by Adekoya there, and that has drawn them to a time which is way superior to what we've seen from two quality athletes in McPherson and Felix in the first of the two heats. Beautifully controlled race run by the American Phyllis Francis. Adekoya has taken herself to a national record for Brunei in second placing. 50-58 for the American, 50-72 for Adekoya, and they've dragged the others out.
So here is the second heat, and an opportunity to see one of the main protagonists, Justin Gatlin, going in lane 8. Olympic champion in Athens, bronze in London, behind Usain Bolt. He's the fastest man in the world this year, but he was last year, and Bolt got the better of him in Beijing by 1/100th of a second. Rondel Cirillo, he starts on the far side as the cameras will be looking. Made the world final over 200 metres. Class act, and he's broken 10 seconds this season. Rodman Teltul of Palau, who came through the preliminary qualifying, is next to him. And there's Gatlin in 8. So, will his composure allow him to produce his best performance, assuming he is in the final and assuming he's drawn alongside Bolt? Daniel Bailey, you probably noticed on his back there, he just missed a medal in Berlin 4 years ago. He's a class act. He's got the number 2016. That's got to go on his wall at the end of the games. In the meantime, he's not thinking about the souvenirs. He's thinking about the fact that he's drawn in the lane alongside Justin Gatlin. Mentally, this guy is usually so strong, but we saw vulnerabilities because on times last year in Beijing, he should have beaten Usain Bolt, but he came up short once again. Will it be different this year? Second heat of the men's 100 metres. Gatlin starts in 8, the fastest man in the world this year. He's got Bailey inside him in 7. Watch out for Wilfred Huar Coffey of the Ivory Coast. He's in 3. And Rondel Cirillo of Trinidad in lane 1. Gatlin will be keen to make this look easy and lay down a marker and send a message to Usain Bolt, who goes in heat 7, that this year he's not to be intimidated by the great man. Cleanly away, and it's a good start from Gatlin, powering his way through here. Gatlin from Cirillo also running well. Daniel Bailey coming through late there. Well, 10:01, a little applause. That was pretty comfortable from Gatlin. Good run from Gerald Peary of Zambia as well. And in fact, Daniel Bailey has been given second place. So it's Bailey who goes through automatically. Cirillo edged out into 3rd. And Peary came home in 4th place, 10:27. But job done as far as Gatlin is concerned. Second from the left. He is safely through for bigger battles to come.
Good start, good drive early. And then he was able to cruise in the last 5. And it was a good finish from Daniel Bailey to get up and pinch the automatic qualifying spot from Rondel Cirillo. Had to stretch to do it. On the other hand, Gatlin very comfortable. And they will officially mark him at 10:01. And that is a pretty substantial margin of victory in 100 for the other two men who are racing hard.
How will he cope, though, when he's lining up alongside Usain Bolt? Gatlin and Bailey safely through. Cirillo will have to wait to see if he goes through as one of the 8 fastest losers. So heat 6 of the men's 100 metres. Johan Blake of Jamaica, the former world champion in 2011 when Usain Bolt produced that false start, the only blip on an otherwise faultless CV in the major championships for Bolt. Blake not as fast as he was when he got 2 silvers behind Bolt in the 1 and the 2 in London, but he is coming back to shape. Remember how he used to talk about the beast mode and hold up his fingernails to the camera. He is a character. Maybe chastened somewhat after a couple of tough years. So Mosito Lahata of Lesotho in 2, Buhantes of South Africa in 3, Blake goes in 4, Zhang of China. They've certainly caused a couple of upsets in these heats. That's James Ellington, semi-finals in the 200 metres back in Moscow, trained by Linford Christie, former Olympic champion. Antoine Adams, very useful athlete from St Kitts and Nevis, goes in 7, and that's Jack Ali Harvey, former Jamaican, now representing Turkey. 9.92 this season. So he's got the fastest of the season's bests. But it should be Blake in 4. And then Harvey in 8. And can James Ellington of Great Britain in lane 6 get in the mix? Personal best this season of 10.04. Blake just shaking out, making sure those big, strong quads are ready to fire. A totally different body shape to that of Usain Bolt. Blake in 4, Ellington, Great Britain 6, Harvey, Turkey in 8. 6th heat of the men's 100 metres. Well, Harvey was very late to rise. That's a good start from Johan Blake. Beast mode is well and truly underway. Blake takes that one from Jack Ali Harvey of Turkey, who recovered after a little bit of a late rise in the blocks. Been rounded up there, just as you see, to 10.11. Well, he may not be in the kind of shape that took him to 9.69, but maybe he has got 1 or 2 surprises for us here. And he's just reminded everyone, listen, I'm a double silver medalist from London, I'm back in shape, and I'm ready to make a contribution to the drama here. Jack Ali Harvey taking the 2nd spot, 10.14. Al Harvey's been given 3rd at 10.22, so that won't be quick enough for him to go through as a fastest loser.
His start was good without being great, Blake, and he just did enough to keep in front of the opposition all the way down the track. There was something left. He switched it off with about 10 metres to go, and in fact both men switched it off because both he and Ellington knew from what they could see with their peripheral vision that they'd done enough to ward off the rest of the competitors. So it was comfortable at the end for both of them. Whether or not it was impressive enough to think that he's going to bother the likes of his compatriot if he gets through, or Gatlin, or for that matter Mate. Here's the replay again. Blake and Harvey both comfortable.
Johan Blake will be watching somewhere as he does his interviews. Blake safely through, so too Harvey, but they will be the only 2 from this heat.
So let's take a look at the field in heat 7. 4 sub-10 runners here. Andrew Fisher of Brunei is one of them. Richard Thompson of Trinidad and Tobago. Bolt, of course, with the 9.58 lifetime best. He's run 9.88 this year. So he's the 4th fastest man this year behind Gatlin, Bromell and Vico, who was disappointing earlier. And James DeSalu of Great Britain, 9.91. And he's run a 10.11 this year. Richard Thompson, very durable sprinter from Trinidad and Tobago. 2 Olympic silvers from Beijing back in 2008. 31 years of age now, so he's getting up to the veteran category. Set his personal best back in 2014. But here's the moment. As cool and as calm and as composed as he is, I think his heart will be racing just at the moment because not everything has been right in the lead-up. Kiryu of Japan has run 10.01 this year, so he's got a good chance of getting the automatic spot. It's just about a packed house on Saturday afternoon in Rio de Janeiro, and the headline act of the Games is about to start his campaign.
On your mark.
He calls for quiet, and now for the most part you can almost hear a pin drop around the stadium. The big man gets his way. Bolt from 6, Thompson on his left shoulder, Kiryu closest to the camera. 7th heat of the 100. The expectation is enormous here.
Set.
Bolt got up and going pretty well. Thompson beat him out half a metre in lane 3. Fisher's going well. Now the big man stretching out, looking around. He'll do it comfortably. It's about the time. It's 10.07. There was some left. Is it the first of 3 steps to glory? Usain Bolt took a little time to find his feet, but when he did, he had them covered at halfway, and then it was a formality after that.
Not even out of breath. There is a bit of work to do on that start. Usain Bolt electrifying the crowd as only he knows how. Good performance there by Andrew Fisher, who came through well. But Bolt does have a little bit to do on the start, but he does always save it for the right occasion, peaking as he goes through the rounds. And there were so many doubts about him last year in Beijing at the World Championships, and he managed to come past Gatlin with what he said was his mental strength rather than his physical prowess. I watched him race in London over 200 metres when he ran high 19.8s, but he wasn't happy with that, and hopefully from his perspective it's been a really crisp month of training since that Diamond League appearance. Safely through, and he's yet to ignite the dynamite.
And interesting to note, his reaction time was the 2nd slowest in the race. And here's the replay of Bolt's race, and you saw it took a little while for him to get into stride. When he did, though, it was comfortable. He was looking around to see that he had Fisher covered. Andrew Fisher has run really well to run 10.12. So Bolt comfortable, but the one thing that he will be looking to do is come out of the blocks a bit better. If he's going to trouble Gatlin, he'll probably need to do that, but there's only 600ths of a second between them on what they were able to do today. Bolt and Fisher, automatic qualifying spots. DeSalu at 10.18 should get through.
Yes, all the big names are almost home. Aaron Brown of Canada goes in this one. Ramon Gittins, Akani Simbine. 8th heat then, bringing to a close a really whistle-stop session of athletics here in the Olympic Stadium in beautiful sunshine with good crowds. We couldn't have asked for much more. Akani Simbine of South Africa, he'll go in 4, 9.89 this year. World Student Games gold last year. Semi-finalist in Moscow 3 years ago. Aaron Brown of Canada, he's gone 9.96. There is the South African. The Canadian goes in 7. And Ramon Gittins, flag bearer for Barbados, world indoor bronze medalist, he's on the outside in lane 9. Well, the whole sprinting scene in South Africa is really buoyant at the moment, especially over the 1 lap with Wade van Niekerk. There is Aaron Brown, semi-finalist in London over the 200 metres. 9.96. The Canadians have got the makings of a really good relay team, with the likes of Andre de Grasse. And there is Gittins on the outside, semi-finalist over the 100 metres in Moscow and in Beijing. And what an honour that must have been for him to carry the flag in for the proud Caribbean nation on the opening ceremony. So this is it. This will wrap up the qualification. If you're looking for the fastest losers, we've got 3 men all on 10.20. If you're interested in who finishes in third and fourth places here. But as far as Akane Simbine is concerned, he wants number 1 by his name here, wants to make nice and short. Yamagata of Japan starts on the far side in 1. He's gone 10.06 this season. But Simbine in 4 in the green and gold of South Africa. Brown in 7. Gittins, Barbados in the yellow nearest the camera. And Simbine just putting his arm up and saying, OK, a little bit too much noise here. There's still a hangover of excitement, and why not, from the crowd seeing Usain Bolt in action. He's quite within his rights to do that. Just showing good experience there, the South African. Vitor Hugo dos Santos also goes in this one, national champion for Brazil while still a junior. He's to Simbine's right-hand side. South African taking a moment to compose himself. So Simbine goes in 4. Brown, Canada in 7. Gittins will be nearest the camera in the bright yellow of Barbados. Simbine fourth from the right-hand side. I tell you what, Yamagata's got an absolutely brilliant start on the far side. Really good run there, but coming through, Simbine takes it. But what a great emergence from the blocks from Ryota Yamagata. He got a blistering start in lane 1, and that put the South African just under a little bit of pressure early on before he turned the screw at the end of the race. Simbine has taken that 10.14. Yamagata came through for second at 10.20, which means there's absolutely no place in the next round for Aaron Brown, the Canadian, or Ramon Gittins in 9, because remember, the fastest loser spots were 10.20. So, great start from the Japanese athlete in 1. Simbine has done enough. He will join Bolt and Gatlin and all the other big boys as we head towards the semi-finals.
And unfortunately for the Palestinian athlete, Abakusa, it looks as though he's pulled up with an injury, getting some medical attention. Came out as though he was catapulted, the Japanese Yamagata. But now Simbine getting into his work, flattening out and finding the line pretty convincingly. The men in the widest lanes, Brown and Gittins also up there challenging but falling just short. Brown 10.24, Gittins 10.25. So it is the South African. They're going to have some sort of games on the track by the look of it, with Wade van Niekerk involved in what is going to be a titanic battle in the 400 metres, one of the races of the games. So in the last of the 8 heats, this was the result.
Simbine comfortably through in the end, but Yamagata benefiting from a lightning quick start. No Brown or Gittins in the semi-finals.